what you've got to do is you've really got to understand it well, and you've got to break it down, and you've got to handle each piece of the sales process perfectly.
So what are the pieces of the sales process?
Introduction. All right, discovery, and we'll talk more about these in detail. Introduction, discovery, presentation, overcoming objections, and closing.
Sale.
Right.
So should we start from the beginning and start with the introduction? Because we and really probably where the common denominators, whether it's 100 years ago or today, the thing that we probably do differently and do our best to teach differently is that, the foundation, you're still dealing with people.
Right.
People haven't changed. Information has changed. And we add this one thing called discovery, but we do every piece. Most people are taught to go down this road, and we kind of take a little different road.
Well, most people are taught to go out to presentation because people have shorter attention spans. Okay, so what people are taught is go right into presentation, feature benefit, because you can captivate them. And what do people love talking about most? Themselves. So instead of pitching your feature benefit, wouldn't you want to go right into discovery and ask some questions that elicit some answers that they're talking about themselves?
Okay, hold on. So instead of going, hey man, how about those Vikings? What you're gonna love about this, whatever it is I'm selling.
Well, number one, the Vikings is not them. So you're not asking them a question about themselves. Let's say, for good examples, we do business to business sales.
Okay.
And one of the best question that we promote it to use is when you're talking to somebody, God, whatever made you get into this business? And granted, you can't go, hi, I'm Chuck Fowler from First Financial. What made you get into this business? I mean, because it's all got to work in conjunction together. It's all got to work. It's got to be like, it's seamless when you do it really well. But at first, it doesn't feel that way. You got to have a good introduction that is warm and captivating, and then you have to. Let me give you an example, because that's kind of a tough concept to understand. Because I might go, hey, John, this is Chuck over First Financial. Or I walk in, I'm with First Financial, how you doing?
Good,
great.
Suspect.
You're going to be suspect, so I'm going to do things like, hey, you working hard or hardly working?
Oh, man, I tell you.
Okay, great. Now I've made it about them, because I'm asking you a question about you, okay? So now I'm kind of breaking down those barriers. And then you do have to state your intent. Hey, I wanted to stop in, here's why. And it doesn't matter what you're selling, or even if they're coming to you, you know what the intent is, so it's actually a little easier if they're coming to you.
Right.
And that's how you want to set it up. And
we'll talk about how you get people to call you later.
Right, and then you transition into discovery. Or you may comment, you set up your discovery by go, God, you've got to, because again, we're business to business, so I might go, geez, I really love what you've done with the place. And they'll go, oh, thanks. And they go, and then right into discovery, how long you been here? Ah, no kidding. Whatever made you get into this industry? And that's an open-ended question. And I think what a lot of people forget when they get into discovery is they're doing yes or no questions, which is called a closed-ended question. Closed-ended questions, you lose people, they don't care. It's not because they don't have a chance to talk. So you want to ask an open-ended question, whatever made you get into this business? And then just listen. I was always told growing up, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. If God wanted us to talk more, we'd have had another mouth, right? So listen, just listen to what they're saying. And the cool thing about that, if you do it right, is they're telling you their story. You get a really good handle on who am I dealing with here? What kind of person? What's important to them? Because how they describe things to you is going to give you a little bit of insight to like their character, their moral fabric. So then you can relate with them. Because it's about them, and quit making it about you, make it about them.
Right. And so far, what we've really, if we kind of rewound this and went, all right, a couple of things to point out. One is that most people are taught to sell in segments, and it's all really telling. You said, it's not closed-ended questions. Like a lot of us are taught, and then you work into objections, objection cards, and rebuttals, and all that crapola. It's what I see, what you're doing is you're exploring, and you've got your radar up, and so it's not, and so probably that means I'm paying attention to my craft.
Yeah,
I'm communicating.
Right.
And so if you're like some people say, well, you're a natural born salesperson. Well, maybe I'm just naturally curious,
right.
or maybe You know,
But most people that say that, it's because they're talking with someone who might be like real articulate and charismatic. You know, they're talking, God, you're a natural born salesman. You go, no, because that's not sales.
Right.
Sales is, you've got to be, it's almost like Columbo. And I know that's going to date us a little bit, right?
Right.
But you're like a detective. You're asking a lot of questions, but you can't just ask the questions and go, okay, I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'm going to wait for the noise to quit coming out of your mouth so I can talk.
Right.
When you're talking, I have to be like, you're calculating. Right. You're taking all that data and the things that you're saying and you're going, okay, how now my presentation is building the whole time.
Right in the back of your mind. You're going, those little like, you're talking to me, you're going, tidbit.
Yep. Okay,
tidbit.
So when I present, here's some things that are going to be a concern of this client. Okay, so...
And they're actually going to appreciate that you took the time to listen and use that, not that you're using it against them, because you're just finding out, instead of telling them what they're going to love, you're finding out what they're interested in.